So Cenk Uygur and Alan Lickman were on Piers Morgan's show, and a little interesting backstory on this. They had a massive blowout and huge fight. It was really funny. I was actually in like the waiting room at Piers Morgan in the Zoom call, and so I got to watch this as it happened live. And I remember thinking, oh boy, this is going to go viral. And that's exactly what happened. So the whole idea of this panel is you bring in liberals and leftists and try to figure out what went wrong. Why did the Democrats lose? Why did Trump win? And this part right here is wild. So let's watch and then we'll break it down.
Don't blame the voters. I think, look, we could get into this discussion, but one, I think you're blaming the voters. I think that's a terrible idea. And look, I debated Professor Lickman before. I told him his theories about the keys were absurd. I was right. He was wrong. I said he'd lose his keys.
No, you were not right, and I was not wrong. And that's a cheap shot, and I won't stand for it.
Well, who won, brother?
You should not be taking cheap shots at me.
Who won? You live in a total world of denial.
I read your own followers' comments, and they all trashed you, every one of them, and supported me. So
yeah,
play
right,
it with
right.
your personal
yeah,
attacks.
come find out again.
Make whatever point you want.
Yeah.
Don't make it personal.
You don't know anything. You don't know anything.
You attacked me personally.
You're so deluded.
Oh, right. I've only been a professor for 51 years.
On this program, I've never been able to finish a thought.
How many books have you published?
So for those who don't know, this Alan Lickman guy, he has these keys, which he says perfectly predict every election. And people, like the media had given him a lot of credit, like, oh, he's gotten a lot of stuff right. And I actually think they slightly misstate it. There's sometimes that he's flipped back and forth on like, oh, the keys only tell you the popular vote victory versus, oh, the keys tell you the electoral college vote victory. So he was a little fishy even leading into this election. But in this election, he was starting to get comical because he was defending Biden after the debate at a time when it was so clear that, like, dude, this guy's mind is just not there. Like, I don't know why you could think you can rely on these really obscure other factors to determine the outcome of the election when, like, look at him. Look at Biden. And Cenk interviewed him before and asked him, like, okay, so if all your keys say Biden's going to win, but Biden every day from now until the election punched a baby in the face, would Biden still win? And Lickman said, yes. So he was predicting a Kamala victory, right? Which, hey, no shade. I was wrong too. A lot of people were wrong about this. But now, having lost, having been dead wrong, but he's insisting like I wasn't wrong. Okay, now like any respect anybody has for this guy should be gone now. Bro, you have to be willing to hold an L. You have to be willing to be honest and say, I was wrong. I was wrong. Even if he wants to insist, hey, the keys were right, but I didn't interpret it properly. Like, okay, well, you still didn't interpret it properly, so you were wrong. So it's just, this is wild to me. Anyway, let's keep going.
You don't know anything. You don't know anything.
You attacked me personally.
You're so deluded.
Oh, right. I've only been a professor for 51 years.
On this program, I've never been able to finish a thought.
How many books have you published?
That's also such a cell phone right there. Like, oh, I've been a professor for a really long time and I published 13 books. Okay. What? Nobody who's published a book can be wrong? Rush Limbaugh published a lot of books. Sean Hannity published a lot of books. What are you talking about?
No, because you're personally attacking me again. Say whatever you want, but I'm not going to stand for
brother,
personal
you got it wrong.
Say
you were
whatever
preposterously and stupidly wrong. So, okay, all right. Can I just finish a goddamn thought ever on this show?
No, not if you're personally. I admitted I was wrong. I don't need you to call me stupid.
Okay.
I'll just say it's great to see you Democrats all getting along so well.
Who taught you manners?
It's lovely to see a post-election harmony as you all come together again.
Hey, Alan, hey, Alan, you deserve a tall glass of shut-up juice, so can you just shut up for a second? And let someone who knows what they're doing.
You're so right, Piers.
You're
so right.
So,
make any point you want. I will not sit here and stand for personal attacks, for blasphemy against me. You don't need to do that. You don't boost
blasphemy against you? What the hell are you? Are you Jesus Christ, you loser?
I will not stand for blasphemy against me. Bro, why? Bro, you have no reason to have such a giant ego. Again, just hold the L, dog. We all had to hold the L. I thought Kamala was going to win. I thought it wouldn't even be particularly close. I thought she would win every swing state. That was the most likely scenario. I was wrong. Just hold the L. Hold the L. And then do some introspection, try to realize why you were wrong, adjust your fucking shitty little keys, and move forward. Like, what are we doing here?
Okay, can I just give the correct answer for once? Okay, here we go. So, guys, you're blaming disinformation. There was disinformation. There was the cats and the dogs nonsense. The points you're making about undocumented immigrants, I agree with, Alan, okay? But that didn't cost the election. The main disinformation was about how the election was going to be rigged. And it wasn't rigged. It was dumb. They won easily. There was no need for that disinformation. You guys are missing the whole point. The people who are at fault are not other people. It is the candidate, Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of undeniable, right? That is kind of undeniable. I don't know why anybody would insist on disagreeing with that. Like, the losing candidate is kind of to blame for losing. Yeah. So, I don't know. Lickman, man, just hang it up, dog. Retire. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. He was, like, leading the Cope Brigade when Biden shit the bed in that debate. And everybody was like, oh, this is bad. According to the Pod Save guys, Biden's internals after the debate, he was going to lose 400 electoral college votes. And Lickman was out there saying, don't panic, stop attacking Biden, he's going to win. And by the way, I have no doubt that people in Biden's universe still believe if Biden stayed on the ticket, he would have beaten Trump. That's why you saw that smile from ear to ear after Kamala's loss. He gave a speech, and it was very clear that he was thinking, like, bro, I would have won this shit. Joe, you don't even know you're president anymore half the time, right? Like, what are we talking about? So, there's another part in this debate where Cenk takes out his keys and literally, like, jingles them while Alan Lickman is talking. Like, ooh, your keys, your keys. Bro, hang it up. Hang it up, hang it up, hang it up. I didn't see the very early part of this, but I guess, Cenk thinks that Juan and Alan Lickman are blaming the voters. I will say this. That's generally not a good thing to do. Right? Because then what you're doing is you're conceding, well, there's nothing I could have done differently to improve, to get better, to help people, to change the result, to change the outcome. So yes, corporate Democrats usually use that as an excuse. Blame the voters, don't admit any fault whatsoever, and that's a problem. But having said that, I'm also now no longer squarely in the Cenk camp of you're not allowed to criticize the voters ever, because there were some quotes that we saw after the fact. I mean, something went viral on some social media site where somebody was talking about how I love the Affordable Care Act, but I hate Obamacare, and I hope Trump gets rid of Obamacare but keeps the Affordable Care Act because I'm very reliant on the Affordable Care Act. And it's like, dude, that is literally the same thing. It's two different names for the same thing. And you didn't know that before you cast your vote for Trump, the guy who tried to throw out Obamacare and get rid of protections for pre-existing conditions? That's kind of unforgivable. Or the guy who, remember that quote? We covered it. Dude was like, yeah, there's some good things about Trump and some bad things about Trump. People compare him to Hitler. I kind of agree with that. But I also voted for him. Are we supposed to not criticize that? Are we supposed to shut up and pretend like, genuflect at the altar of the infallible voter? No, sometimes it's like, hey, that's fucking stupid. And we're going to call it fucking stupid. That doesn't mean you don't try to improve as a party and through policy and through strategy to win. Of course, you can and should do that, and that should be the main focus right now. But I'm over this idea of, the sacrosanct voters who can do no wrong. There are plenty of instances of people voting against their own economic interest, social interest, etc., or just being super ignorant and casting a ballot. Like, that happens. And we need to be able to tell the truth when that happens. But yes, generally, from the perspective of a Juan Williams or an Alan Lickman, it is more likely that they're doing that to deflect blame and to act like, well, Democrats really did nothing wrong. The people are just stupid. And that goes too far. There are some that are kind of stupid and you can criticize, but let's not pretend like there was absolutely nothing to do, nothing you could. I mean, I told you guys, I think if we just got Build Back Better passed, the original Build Back Better, I think Kamala would have won in that scenario. But Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema blocked it, made it the Inflation Reduction Act, which was like an 80% reduction from what Build Back Better was, and I think that cost him the election. So you do need to engage in some semblance of introspection. And by the way, part and parcel of that at a personal level is Alan Lickman, hold your fucking L. Stop being a weasel. Don't say you weren't wrong. That's so stupid. Everybody knows you were wrong. Give it up. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.